start things off with Bloodyface from the USA up against CaiMiao from China, and then Blood Trail on his path to redemption up against significant favorite over CaiMiao if he's able to get the advantage over the bans, because Secret Hunter tends to be really good against the Tempo Mage, which is the main difference between these lineups.
Yeah, it's interesting. We heard a lot of players talk about their lineups and their thought process going into the tournament about those lineups. And a lot of people were saying, oh, I think you play either aggro or anti-control. And Bloodyface actually said, he's like, well, if I come to the conclusion that I want to play aggro or anti-control, who's going to play control?
Right.
What's anti-control even trying to beat? So he's playing an aggressive lineup that is tuned to beat the other aggressive lineups, including Secret Hunter specifically.
Right. It's more of a fast lineup that has more mid-range game plans, like the Malagos Druid, for example, and Secret Hunter, which can go long and just stabilize against the board. You tend to play control against things that are much faster. And we're going to start things off with Zoo Warlock versus the Tempo Mage. I know a lot of people have been trying to get on the train of calling it Aggro Mage. Apex Void has been on a tear. #1 legend in NA, or Americas rather, with Tempo Mage for several days now. But most people want to call it aggro, but I think the name of the game will actually be how the tempo develops. You have to get to control the state of the board a lot against a deck like this.
Yeah, well, we actually just going to say the key cards for CaiMiao in this matchup is going to be Shooting Star, which we saw he had, and the Cosmic Anomaly, which he just picked up. That combination can allow him to wipe off 3 minions of up to 3 health on the board, and without Prince Keleseth, that essentially means any minion in Bloodyface's deck.
What to do?
It is worth noting the bans. CaiMiao did choose to ban that Hunter, which Bloodyface felt like was his great sort of anti-aggro deck, while Bloodyface, I believe, banned the Rogue.
It's pretty interesting bans. We'll talk about that more in between games if we have the time, because we're off to a blistering pace here.
Yeah, and this is absolute heads-up play from CaiMiao, recognizing, well, it's an unlikely combination that you'll be able to answer this, and if you don't, I have Arcane Missile, Shooting Star, Arcane Intellect, all sorts of tools available in order to really take advantage of that Source Apprentice. Bloodyface has to use a Soulfire, and now he's in a little bit of an awkward spot.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of talk about this moniker of Tempo Mage, and that is one of the reasons why it's strong, because of Source's Apprentice. Absolute must-remove threat early on. Now CaiMiao doesn't have much to develop in a minion for himself, but has the ability to complicate the board state either for Bloodyface in the future turn with explosive runes, or can start clearing, or even draw cards if he feels like he can let his opponents develop, and then use Cosmic Anomaly to fight back for board.
Yeah, he does have that explosive runes to take out whatever Bloodyface's next play is. He's a little bit behind in the board, but he does have that Anomaly plus Shooting Star that if he's able to get down to answer Bloodyface's board, it's exceptionally powerful. The problem is that the Shooting Star Cosmic Anomaly deals 3 damage. If Bloodyface is able to get a Fungal Mancer down, most of his minions at that point would have 4 health, and it could be a real problem.
Yeah, the issue of this explosive runes as well is the fact that Serenite Chain Gang is pretty much the only 4-mana minion in most Warlock decks, and you don't even remove the full minion itself. They still have a residual 2/3 remaining. And then in that case, you know, CaiMiao falls even further behind on board, and if Bloodyface plays around
there's
that.
Chain Gang.
Wow.
And that's going to work out very well for Bloodyface here, as he still gets a minion down, and one that matches up quite well against the Arcanologist.
Exactly.
And if Bloodyface were to find a Fungal Mancer, that could be a real problem for CaiMiao. He does have Arcane Missiles. He could, for instance, play Mana Worm, Arcane Missiles, hope to... or even just kill one of these minions first. Yeah. Arcane Missiles here, it's interesting. He could attack into the... I think you want to attack into the Chain Gang first. I guess if he hits 2 on it, he just pings it, so...
Right.
So there's really no...
Oh, no!
There's no really terrible combination of outcomes, but that's the worst possible, is actually connecting nothing to these imps.
Right. And that is the Fungal Mancer possibility that CaiMiao is afraid of. Although
Dreadlord is
still
very
scary.
good, and actually the Solarium is a very powerful draw for Bloodyface. CaiMiao is sort of trying to grind him out of resources here, but that's not really working out when Bloodyface has the reload of the Solarium.
Right, and now CaiMiao has to play removal because that Dreadlord can get way out of control if it gets buffed.
Yep, Solarium is played by Bloodyface. He picks up some cheap minions, extremely powerful, and he can only play 2 of them, so the choice is essentially, do I want Flame Imp or Tar Creeper or Flame Imp Fungal Enchanter? Looks like his choice is Tar Creeper. He wants to get the most health on the board to maximize his chances of being able to land a Fungal Mancer. Even if CaiMiao has Cosmic Anomaly Shooting Star, this board does not fully die.
Right, it would have to actually be a double shooting star if he wants to clear everything. And that's just so costly. I think CaiMiao is just going to hold on to it.
He is.
And if it draws a cheap minion, Bloodyface has the ability to Fungalmancer.
Okay, well, that's another option. Just Soul Infusion into Doomguard.
That's a big minion.
It is a very big minion. He has to kill that Cosmic Anomaly. Cosmic Anomaly just powers up CaiMiao's entire deck so much that it's just not an option for Bloodyface to leave that on board. He could just use Fungalmancer and trade. That puts him in an odd spot where he has just a 2-2 against nothing. If he does Soul Infusion into Doomguard, he gets himself a 6-9 Doomguard, trades, and ends up having 5 health left, so rather 7-9, sorry. And you know, this is another thing that CaiMiao has to answer.
Kieran Tormage.
Well, he does have Shooting Star Frostbolt ping, so he can take out the Doomguard if he wants, but he's making no inroads on Bloodyface's life total or advancing his own board. Looks like we have perhaps a brief technical issue, so the players raising their hands to get an admin to help them resolve it. We do thankfully have the reconnect feature nowadays, so if one player does have some sort of interruption in their connection, they are not just out of it.
Brian, the inside community joke where the technology is here never gets old.
It is.
The technology is here.
It is.
And we're able to continue this game, thankfully. CaiMiao, realizing that one Fungalmancer was discarded, and one Fungal Chanter is gone. So the likelihood of Bloodyface being able to keep this Doomguard healthy is a lot lower than the usual. And that is a Serenite Chain Gang. So Bloodyface able to fill out the curve. Looks like that Doomguard is going to go down.
And here, Bloodyface needs to think about positioning against Shooting Star. He does have the Doomguard kind of in the middle. It makes it as awkward as possible for CaiMiao to ping it first before getting a big Shooting Star off. But Mana Worm into AI.
Wow!
Ooh, this fills out the curve nicely, but Bloodyface does have a big board here. And he essentially has to ping or Shooting Star. This does give him the ability to clear off most of this and develop pretty heavily for himself.
The only problem is that unless CaiMiao picks up Alaneth or another Arcane Insect,
he's just out of
cards. Even Stargazer Luna in this position is not that great.
Job done.
And so if Bloodyface goes even, the hero power should be able to overwhelm CaiMiao over the course of several turns.
And CaiMiao has had to use so many of his resources here answering the board. Ooh, 2 heal effects, not really what Bloodyface is looking for necessarily. He could double heal the Tar Creeper and kill the 4-1. He wants to push damage if he can, but yeah, it's an awkward position for sure.
And it's also, Bloodyface knows that he either has to accept more damage to his own face with Voodoo Doctor being played first, or he wants to grab more board tempo with the Fungal Enchanter.
I feel like with CaiMiao so low on resources that he just wants to take the damage. The board is much more important. He's down to 12 here, but you know, he's seen a Fireball, he's seen a Frostbolt. There's not that much more that CaiMiao can potentially draw for burn. And he's in a at least seemingly relatively safe position, at least life total wise. He is facing down 2 4-3 minions, and that could be a big problem.
Yeah, and then because of that Mana Worm being able to be played first, there's no good trades for Bloodyface outside of this this 4-1 Kieran Tormage that's been weakened.
Okay, yeah, he decides that he wants to keep up the Tar Creeper. There is Stargazer Luna, like you said, not that impressive right now.
But it could be.
It could, yes.
That's the scary thing.
This is a card that I imagine there's a good chance CaiMiao just holds in hand. Maybe he plays it out if there's no real threat to it dying. It's actually a tough spot, because the body on the board is actually relevant in terms of being able to pressure Bloodyface. Even drawing a additional spell might not be as valuable as just getting the damage in immediately. And if Bloodyface answers the Luna, that means he's not answering the Mana Worm.
But the only way he can answer it is the second Soulfire. 1 Doomguard in the deck for Bloodyface, 1 Soulfire being used. Is there any other way?
Right?
Oh, he does have 1 more Fungal Mancer.
Yeah, he only played one of his Fungal Mancers. Yeah, CaiMiao decides to hold it. And this is a careful play, you know, CaiMiao's trying to maximize his resources here. He can play Luna into something, but does mean that he doesn't get the Luna immediately on the board.
That's pretty expensive, but it still works.
Well, this is going to be, you know, potentially a chain of cards here. Looking for cheap stuff. Arcane Missiles is huge. Draws another card. 5 damage thanks to the anomaly.
Behold the tools of creation.
He's already played all of his one-cost spells, I believe, right? He's played both copies of Missiles, both copies of Shooting Star, so there's no card that CaiMiao can immediately play here, but it does put him in a position where he just has, you know, a massive board and an extra card. I think he's just got to play this here. Really good pick.
He might be Word of Die.
I buy it, yeah. No, it also protects either his Cosmic Anomaly or his Stargazer Luna just by holding it here.
Well, and rightfully so, because we're looking at the Fungal Mancer. That would have been brutal, to say the least.
And Bloodyface actually using the Soul Infusion to buff the Fungal Mancer to ensure that it can't be easily removed. Frostbolt to the face, though. That's going to be enough. 5 damage with the Cosmic Anomaly. CaiMiao. one less mana, too. He doesn't want to go with a card unspent. It said 6 damage to Bloodyface's game to take the first game of the series.
I like it. CaiMiao even... some people might say it's bad manner, but I say that it's nice to know what your opponent's holding at times. They show your hand. And CaiMiao's going to take a critical game 1. And I can't even begin to go into depth of why that was so. And then also in actual series where they were down and then they had the reverse sweep. That was CaiMiao was able to do that for the first time of this tournament.
And Bloodyface, I talked to him this morning when we were on the shuttle over from the hotel. I asked him how he was feeling with his matchup. He's like, well, it's the best matchup I've had so far. I had 2 unfavorables that I won to get out of my group, and
he's
you
like,
know,
this
is my best shot. So now, of course, this is the series where he's behind.
Right, and a very crucial win as well for CaiMiao as Tempo Mage able to escape unfavorable matchups across the board. But now that that's all said and done, perhaps Bloodyface will have to go to Malygos Druid, or rather, CaiMiao is going to go to Malygos Druid, and Bloodyface will have to target a deck that's had the worst performance this weekend so far. We heard, Sato, Raven, Admirable, and TJ talk about Malygos Druid struggles. Why do you think it's been struggling from your perspective?
I think part of the reason they've been struggling is because they haven't had draws like CaiMiao's, because he has Wild Growth Nourish Swipe against 2, which is a very powerful opening. But I do think that, as they said in the desk, we have seen some shaky play from some of the Malygos Druid players throughout the course of this tournament. And frankly, I feel like a lot of the players who made it through are the ones who did play better. And I feel like CaiMiao, he's drawing very well here with the Wild Growth and Nourish, but we have seen his Malygos Druid play be absolutely on point. We saw some really impressive results yesterday in his Decider match, where he made some fantastic reads and fantastic plays that got him to this position in the first place.
Yeah, and also, to his credit, we've also seen CaiMiao have some really unfortunate things happen.
It's true.
Unfortunate awkward draws and things don't line up, and he had to do some really counterintuitive and risky plays in order to get to where he was. Yep. And this Wild Growth into Swipe, pretty devastating for Bloodyface, considering how much he invested into it. But this Fungal Enchanter will be a pretty nice follow-up. And that's still a decent amount of... Oh, jeez. Okay, so now CaiMiao is going to run into the opposite problem. Does he have too much ramp and not enough actual substance to play?
He's drawing with this one.
Oh, okay.
The hidden power of Nourish in this particular matchup. You just need more cards when you're just playing a free 4/4 and a 3/4.
Oh my!
And now CaiMiao, he is the one who definitively has a board advantage. Bloodyface with 2/3 attack minions, and he already used the coin. He used the coin to get that powerful Light Warden on board quickly. CaiMiao now has a lot of options to keep himself alive or pick apart at this board. He has just swipe hero power to clear this off if he wants.
Yeah, or if he feels like he can take it a little bit slower, things like Branching Paths helps him recover a little bit better.
Yep.
So let's see what he ends up choosing here. Wouldn't mind a gain armor at the second choice. Yeah, I think from... Oh, ramping because he drew the Lich King.
Okay,
like
yeah, the fact that he did draw Lich King off the draw effect does mean that even if a Fungal Mancer comes down, he's not really too afraid. It can give Bloodyface trades on both of these. I don't know, the threat of Fungal Mancer here makes me feel like the board clear for CaiMiao was pretty attractive. The Fungalmancer, though, would still set up, if Bloodyface were to go for trades, would still set up that swipe to be exceptionally powerful. So I think CaiMiao is trying to be as proactive as possible rather than just reacting to what Bloodyface is doing and recognizing that he has the ability, whether with swipe or Starfall, to answer the best tempo swing that Bloodyface has available in Fungalmancer.
Yeah, the biggest issue with CaiMiao's hand is, ironically, not enough mana. Even though he's drawn 3 ramp cards, only use Wild Growth for the ramp itself. And I like this pressure from Bloodyface, recognizing that, I don't have that much time left in order to get this Druid.
And here, CaiMiao, he can just attack into both of these, use swipe or Starfall. He could swipe and then... I
think he wants a Lich King.
Okay, that's also an option. Yeah, Lich King is really powerful here. With only a Soulfire that could really get this, get Bloodyface through this. And obviously just the resource generation super strong. So yeah, CaiMiao recognizing, okay, well this is a 5-power minion. There's nothing that Bloodyface can have that gives him a great way to punch through my Lich King. So
this Death Coil pickup from CaiMiao is also extremely powerful.
Fury and the Pestilent here. Yeah. Oh dear, this is a rough situation for Bloodyface. It was already bad, but it's just gotten a lot worse.
I think this Malfurion will almost certainly lock Bloodyface out for what quite possibly is the remainder of this game. You saw it on the one hand, Malygos Druid has been struggling a little bit, but another deck that's also been struggling is Zoo Warlock. True. It's been almost a culprit of a lot of reverse sweeps or potential sweeps in general. And these are 2 decks. I mean, this is a very stoppable force meets a very movable object.
It is.
Based off the current trajectory of their win rates. But at the same time, one of them has to win, and Malygos Druid has been underperforming relative to what its average win rate should be.
Yeah, I think that Bloodyface had a draw this game that against many draws from Malygos Druid would just run them over, but CaiMiao, he had the power. Wow. He had Wild Growth and a swipe to answer that early powered-up Light Ward with Soul Infusion. And now, he was the one with the back against the wall yesterday, but he's just 1 game away. I'm set for mana here, that he was just able to keep up with everything Bloodyface threw at him and then some.
Yeah, I like the Nourish for draw. That definitely was something. Yeah, I think I've autopiloted Nourish for ramp so often with Druid, especially Malygos variants of it, that that was my first thought. And now we come down to game 3. If CaiMiao can, his 2-0 lead, push him to a very quick victory to start us off on Championship Sunday and send Bloodyface from the USA home.
It is worth noting that this deck from CaiMiao, this Zoo deck, is a bit slower than most. It actually is built to be more powerful in matchups like against Oddrogue. He has Tar Creeper, he has 2 Despicable Dreadlords, he has more tools to give him survivability against those other aggressive decks.
CaiMiao keeping Soulfire of all cards, because that's how much he feels like he's going to be behind on board the moment Oddrogue chooses to develop a 1-mana minion.
Well, it's not even just that, it's the ability to answer a Flappy Bird or a Hench Clan Thug on turn 3.
That's true, too.
The weapon from Oddrogue is so powerful against all of the early game from Zoo. The cheap answer that allows you to stop their potentially snowballing 3-drop and give you the mana to be able to develop yourself as well.
Scary for Bloodyface, because he's like, oh no, is it?
What's in the box?
Actually, a couple things just happened. First, he might be afraid of like a doubling imp of some kind, because your opponent only kept the far left card. But Soul Infusion reveals which card it buffs in the hand. So Bloodyface can also see that the far left card is a spell.
It's true.
And what spell is in Zoo Warlock? It's pretty much Solarium and Soulfire. And the other Soul Infusion, obviously.
Another Soulfire the draw for CaiMiao. Gonna coin out. Oof. That attack there from Bloodyface interestingly set this up. This gives 8/8 worth of stats to CaiMiao on just turn 2. And one thing I think is pretty impressive here, we actually didn't talk about it. He mulliganed Flame Imp.
I didn't see that.
He mulliganed
Did he
Flame
really?
Imp with the recognition that, well, it's just so bad against Dagger, against Oddrogue. That requires like a level of recognition of what matters in a matchup that is far beyond that which the average ladder player really considers.
It's true. And also you add to the fact that CaiMiao, he says he loves combo and control decks and he's playing an aggro lineup, so you can tell he's practiced a lot, understand what he needs to do.
Now he has Soulfire for this Flappy Bird and can keep pushing with 5/5.
Yeah. This is big damage. Bloodyface does have the answer with Deadly Poison SI7 agent. It is fairly costly in terms of getting max value off Deadly Poison, but he'll finally have board control.
And I mean, you have to get rid of this. There's a 5/5 on the board that's bigger than anything in your entire deck, let alone anything you have in play right now.
Agreed. CaiMiao's reload's not amazing either.
He does have the Solarium, so if he does have a little bit of time, he could be in a reasonable spot, but he has no coin anymore, so he is behind in terms of his ability to really fight for the board immediately. He's going to go ahead and Solarium right away. This gives him more potential discards for Soulfire.
Right. And he picks up a Voodoo Doctor. Most of his hand can be
Ooh,
played.
Yeah.
Pretty much is the Voodoo Doctor, though, for CaiMiao to make this best. Oh.
Going to Soulfire first. This means that he still has the 2 Cobalt Librarians, potentially discard one of them. Have as many cards in his hand as possible that he could potentially lose to that won't have much of an impact this turn. And look at Bloodyface, he's down to 17. You know, while the dagger is extremely powerful in the matchup, it's difficult for him to use it if he's just being pressured so much.
I don't know, though. I feel like CaiMiao, like, losing that Serenade Chain Gang and the Happy Goal was actually kind of a big deal.
It was pretty brutal there. You know, CaiMiao now, he's used both of his Soulfires. He has no Soulfires left. He needs to be able to answer this Henge Clan Thug, and he is not in a good position to do it. He's going to go wide in the board.
That is pretty powerful, though. And it's one of those things you mentioned. Maybe there's just no more life for Blade to work with soon if he ends up just taking too much damage.
Ooh, that is such a good draw for Bloodyface, the SI7 agent. Gonna play the Fledgling, not the Tark.
I mean, he can pick apart most of this board.
He can kill just about everything here.
And there's like multiple minions.
Yeah, no, I actually love this. A lot of time people might think, okay, you know, I'm low, I want to play Tark Reaper here. Bloodyface, no, if you kill the Fledgling, you don't kill Thug. If you kill Thug, you don't kill Fledgling.
Exactly.
Gives him a position where he can snowball from.
Tark Reaper is still a little painful for Bloodyface, but the Vicious Fledgling should be able to connect to face this turn.
The Fledgling here is absolutely huge. With the dagger and the SI, he can already punch his way through it and start flapping his wings.
Yep. 7 is when Bloodyface is all that separates Bloodyface from elimination.
But again, crucially, there are no Soulfires left. There is only a single Doomguard for burst. And that is a lethal Flappy Bird hidden behind a Tark Creeper. I don't think there's a way out of this for CaiMiao. He has to draw Serenade Chain Gang to just stay alive. Void Ripper, okay, that flips the Flappy Bird, but it gives a 5-power Tark Creeper.
Yeah.
And Bloodyface comes back in this game and in this series. Interviewed him along with the rest of the players earlier in the week, and he was just such a happy-go-lucky guy. And we see him in a very different mindset and a very different mood once he gets on stage.
Yeah. Zoo versus Zoo, this is a very snowbally matchup and has been since the dawn of this deck back when Reynad unfortunately unleashed it all for the open beta players to see.
Back at the dawn of Hearthstone.
Back when Shield Bearer.
When Reynad handed down the stone tablets of Zoo.
I came down the mountain with his 10 commandments. You know, the thing about this is that, you know, one of the most important facets about this matchup is your turn 1 play. But Voidwalker isn't exactly something to write home about.
It's not that impressive.
It's not impressive at all. And then Bloodyface on the flip side has one of the better 1-drops to get started, which is Light Warden.
Well, and this is crucial. CaiMiao's deck, it is built for other matchups, only has 1 Light Warden. It is less aggressive, less potential for these explosive early game draws. Yeah. And this is an interesting decision because if CaiMiao does not attack, I was going to say, if he attacks, he enables all sorts of healing effects.
Yeah. Except, you can heal your opponent.
You can. That's true.
It's really nifty. And now Bloodyface even drew Prince Keleseth. This is bad news for CaiMiao, and even though it's only turn 2, it's already a very difficult situation to overcome.
And there's the light one of his own for CaiMiao, but a little bit late. He does have Tark Reaper, which is quite powerful at containing this board if there's no additional healing for Bloodyface, which currently there is not. He only has Fungal Enchanter. Well, actually, no, just kidding. That's a damaged Light Warden from attacking into the Voidwalker. So if CaiMiao does play Tark Reaper, it dies to a 1-drop.
In the light's name.
I mean, CaiMiao might have to Soulfire.
I think we're going to see the Soulfire here, yeah.
And this is kind of something that I was thinking about even as early as turn 2 for CaiMiao. Do I life tap or do I...
Loses the Tar Creeper. That's one of his best lines of defense here. And Bloodyface picks up a Tar Creeper of his own, and his has the Keleseth buff.
Yes.
That's a 2/6.
So that's really big too, because CaiMiao with another Soulfire can't even get through it very efficiently. Oh man, that Kobold Librarian.
That's an excellent draw. Kobold Librarian into Fungal Enchanter will allow him to buff up his Light Warden, and then potentially start getting enough threat here, but it's not. The problem is that if he had one more mana here, he could Soulfire and get through the Tar Creeper alongside the Light Warden. I think he may be considering, does he want to attack? Does he want to get this damage in before Bloodyface gets to attack through the Voidwalk? He does. That's going to run into a Fungal Enchanter to heal up some of that damage too.
I think Fungal Enchanter in his mind is probably one of the less concerning threats compared to, say, developing a double Serenade Chain Gang. And then he'd be like, whoa, I'm just super far behind.
Or the Doubling Imp that Bloodyface just drew.
Doubling Imp is just as good. I mean, all these options are fantastic. Fungal Enchanter. I was thinking about maybe perhaps wanting to Soulfire the 3/3, but he doesn't want to lose that Doubling Imp, which could also be crucial.
Right, and the Fungal Enchanter now preserves so much of the presence of his minions already on the board, and will have less of an impact down the line, whereas Doubling Imp, that's going to be 2 3/3s whenever he plays it.
Yep.
All right, well, the Solarium for CaiMiao.
That Fungal Mancer is one of the key cards of this matchup in the mid stage of the game.
Well, CaiMiao also has this Soulfire. He's going to want to use this Soulfire, I imagine.
Yes.
With some of these cards he's going to be losing, most likely.
Yeah, I think he wants to play Fungal Enchanter, but he's okay with discarding either the Flame Imp or the Kobold Librarian.
Right, because what he's trying to do is get a board that's actually good against Bloodyface's board. If he plays the Kobold Librarian, he just has a 2/1 against a 3/3. Ooh, he loses his only card that's not from Solarium, and now with an empty hand, CaiMiao is in serious trouble.
Yeah, apologies. I meant the Fungal Mancer and the Kobold Librarian, but he ends up with the worst case scenario. And now Bloodyface has full dominance over the board. Does he want to use the Soulfire or keep it? And I think because of how far ahead he is on board, says, you know what, let's just simplify things.
This prevents any kind of shenanigans like drawing Kobold Librarian into Fungal Mancer here, which would give CaiMiao like a stable board position. Serenade Chain Gang is okay, but those are 3/3 Doubling Imps. Serenade Chain Gang is just 2/3. There's no Keleseth buff.
Yeah. Without the Keleseth buff, it actually answers the board. Without it, CaiMiao gets absolutely destroyed here.
And Bloodyface can take these value trades. If he finds something powerful here, can put himself in an even better position. Just gonna go ahead, Soul Infusion rather, on the Light Warden. If CaiMiao does find a Despicable Dreadlord, he can clear off these 2 3/3s, now 3/1s, is in at least a recoverable position. That's a Dreadlord. That does something. He's still massively behind. He can't really use that Voodoo Doctor because of the threat of the opposing Light Warden just getting even bigger.
He could develop it onto an existing healthy minion.
It's true, it's true. Seem to have another brief technical issue. They're going to be taking care of that, but this board position is extremely difficult for CaiMiao to recover from.
Yeah, it's there's 5 minions on board, and thankfully again,
right back into it.
Seems like there's
technology is here.
Still doesn't get over. Only because we've been in that spot so many times. We're like, oh man. You know, there's no lethal on board, but it still looks really scary.
Well, this is not quite lethal on board, but this does look really scary.
I mean, it feels like it might as well be.
All right, well, Bloodyface keeps marching down. Doomguard is the draw. That's not good enough. There's the Chain Gangs in the way. The other Dreadlord is the only out here for CaiMiao. He does not find it. Void Ripper can flip things around, but still lethal. And from 2-0, it's now 2-2. We're going to game 5.
Bloodyface strikes back. And we talked about how Zoo Warlock could be the weakness. And Bloodyface already has some decent tools at his disposal.
I mean, I would not be surprised to see like just a keep from Bloodyface on much of this hand. Nourish, very powerful. Not necessarily an early game card, but crucial to have that ramp/card draw available to you. Yeah, full keep from Bloodyface. Removal, mind control tech, ramp That's a good draw.
Flame Imp, good start for CaiMiao, but Bloodyface is ready with that Spellstone. No Prince Kelseth. And I wonder if the small tech differences, like having, you know, like double Ferocious out here and Bloodyface, and like a little bit more defensive tools can help him survive the onslaught. You see some players sometimes get greedy and maybe not have that armor gain in order to have other tech cards.
Look at this. No Spellstone for Bloodyface here. He's just going to hit the face, going to give himself more time. Potentially trying to bait CaiMiao into a position where he can use that mind control tech.
Why do you call?
And now that's a bigger minion. And you know, potentially Ferocious Howl and plus the Spellstone into that gives him ability to clear a more crucial minion. And
oh, another Ferocious Howl.
This also puts CaiMiao in a position, if he double develops here, that means mind control tech is active.
It's not, it's actually the frozen hit. I was like, did you draw a second Ferocious Howl off the top?
They're getting a better look at what's going on here in just a moment.
Oh, well, now we get to...
Ooh. Well, there is a fully upgraded Spellstone. The Wild Growth is a powerful draw as well, enabling the Spreading Plague. It'll be interesting to see if Bloodyface does decide to pull the trigger on Spellstone this turn, because it does give him a good use of his mana alongside that Wild Growth.
Big scary part is Coin Fungalmancer.
It is.
Bloodyface again.
Wow.
Pass.
This is Bloodyface just trying to use that mind control tech effectively. There is the Coin Fungalmancer, but he has Spreading Plague and he has mind control tech.
This is something that I hear Firebat talk about a lot, which is like, yes, you can remove, but you want to play for the big tempo swing, because that's what can lock your opponents decisively out of the game. And if Bloodyface can steal any of the big 5 health minions.
Well, there's a Arcane Tyrant as well.
Okay, I like this.
So,
I like this too.
This does give CaiMiao a board that very strongly deals with these 1/5s, though. Another Chain Gang is the draw. He can actually muck up his board with a bunch of small minions, which will reduce the impact of mind control tech.
It does make things more vulnerable to swipe. Here's the thing, though. Bloodyface also has the ability to nourish for crystals. On 7 mana, he'll have 4 remaining, and then he can mind control tech.
That's true. That's true.
And look at CaiMiao trying to make sure that swipe doesn't completely destroy him from this spot. But mind control tech can do some big damage to CaiMiao's board development.
But can Bloodyface afford to play Nourish for Crystals into the MC Tech plus Spellstone?
I think so.
It looks like there's enough defense on his side. All right, MC Tech. Oh, the worst minion on the board. He does still have that Spellstone. He can kill that Flame Imp. Interestingly enough, that is the Flame Imp that's been in place since turn 1. Spellstone could have killed it ages ago.
6 damage can go to the face. Solarium gonna look for something more.
Soulfire is there. Dreadlord. Oof, Dreadlord's pretty powerful against the board Bloodyface has here.
Yeah, but your opponent also just rammed into 10 mana. At the same time, though, your board state still looks really good.
If CaiMiao just attacks into the Scarab and just pushes the rest to face, or perhaps the Fungalmancer to the MC Tech, I think he could have gotten this damage to the face. I don't know that he needs to trade here, because that would just attack into one of these taunts. I think CaiMiao may have not needed to lose that minion there. Empty board for Bloodyface, though. He does have Infestation. Can go to 17. He's facing 9 damage on the opposing side of the board. He's deciding, what does he Infestation? Does he hit the Dreadlord? Does he hit the Fungal Enchanter?
Yeah, what if my opponent has a second Fungalmancer? What if he has Doomguard? What did we see him discard? It was, you know, Fungal Enchanter and Soulfire, so his burst is a little bit reduced. It's a tough spot, and I mean, CaiMiao knows what's gonna happen. It's all about Bloodyface. If he wants to take 1 less damage, and I think he's gonna try and squeeze out as much life as he can, but when he targets the 5/4 Fungal Enchanter, or if he wants more board-centric approaches and kill a Dreadlord.
If he kills the 5-power minion, there's no easy trade if CaiMiao wanted to take it. I don't think CaiMiao would be trading here anyway.
Yeah, and an Arcane Tyrant pickup here would be absolutely massive.
Oh, Spellstone is a big draw, and a Tyrant!
Oh, what a rip!
That is a huge tempo swing for Bloodyface. And now he has 9 power on his board as well. CaiMiao finds doubling Imp, but that's not that big. But he can make a very wide board here.
The widest possible board. 7 minions. Dealing damage to his opponent's board a little bit. Bloodyface has recovery tools. He's got Ferocious Howl and Spellstone.
Bloodyface could really use a swipe right about now. That's a swipe!
Jinx! Synergy's off the charts, Brian Kibler. We tweet at the same time. We cast everything at the same time. Bloodyface has so many tools to pick apart the board.
The Howl gives him so much more life to work with. It upgrades the Spellstone, not that he needs it since he has the swipe. Well, actually, he can take out every big minion on the board, pick apart the small ones. 17 life for Bloodyface now. I don't even know that he needs the swipe at this point. With the branching paths draw 2, he can Spellstone down the Dreadlord, pick apart 2 more of the minions with his board, leaving very little left. I think he might swipe anyway. Yeah, it doesn't actually damages the Light Warden, and that could be bad.
Unless he swipes the Light Warden, in which case
okay.
I wouldn't hate that. I think it's the biggest threat on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he goes for that. And then I imagine we will see a Spellstone take out the Dreadlord. So now it's 17-18 with the hero power against just 2 2/2 minions.
9 life, 9 armor.
CaiMiao finds another doubling Imp.
Oh man, thank goodness Bloodyface does not play Starfall in his Malygos Druid deck.
Doubling Imp number 1 and 2.
Face. It's really hard to not want to trade, but I think going face is the best answer.
I think CaiMiao has to try and finish the game. Bloodyface draws. He has so many tools in his hand.
Another Ultimate Infestation just to gain board presence and clear the board.
He will overdraw something, but
I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters at this point. He has so many of his powerful tools, just such a huge swing. Finds a Moonfire.
And he gets a second Spreading Plague, double Moonfire.
Both Moonfires. He could even just use these to pick apart the board, but I don't think he needs to. He's at 19. He has Malygos in hand. 8 damage on the board for CaiMiao.
So what realistically might happen is Bloodyface could stick Malygos onto the board with Malygos Moonfires and then swipe for the victory. But if he feels like he needs to use these Moonfires to stabilize right now, he will be able to pick up that extra card that right now can't fit in his hand.
Looks like he may hold on to them.
So the thing is too that his ghoul is also protected. Not that CaiMiao's incentivized to trade anyways, but he'll have an easier time managing the board. And the truth is too, the more Bloodyface leaves on the board, the better Spreading Plague is.
That's Prince Kalithas, but that's too late. Turn 9. Both chain gangs, both. With that Void Ripper, that could be big if there's the Spreading Plague comes down. It can allow CaiMiao to punch through a plague.
Sort of. It actually just makes it trade his own board away.
But at least it does that. Floop is lost, but Floop does not matter. Spreading Plague comes down. Branching Paths.
Can gain armor and +1 attack to just try and make everything really awkward.
+2 attack even means Void Ripper doesn't allow the trades.
Oh yes, this plays around the Void Ripper directly.
The Void Ripper here will not allow CaiMiao to make these trades. Bloodyface recognizes that's your best play. That's the only thing you could have to punch through.
He needs a Dreadlord.
And now it cannot.
Oh, but he can't Dreadlord and Void Ripper. CaiMiao is locked out.
He's looking for any way out of this, but it is not there. CaiMiao was up 2-0, the last hope of China. But I think this is his last turn in this tournament.
Yeah, flipping actually increases the power on the board.
He can trade off with 2 of them, but there's still 12 damage on the board. Get a Soulfire 1 away, but 12 damage in the hand from Bloodyface, from the Malygos and Moonfires. Here comes the dragon, and here comes Bloodyface, booking his ticket to the World Championship.
CaiMiao was the first to reverse sweep this tournament yesterday to make it to the top 8. And now Bloodyface able to take 3 in a row. And you can see the disappointment on CaiMiao's face. as Bloodyface will take this series 3-2 and be our first World Championship competitor from the fall season.
And we heard Bloodyface talk about his composure, talk about you sit